Good day, guys. Welcome to another tutorial. My name is Tlori, and today we're going to be covering referencing and plagiarism. So they basically go hand in hand, as you cannot mention referencing without mentioning plagiarism, and you can also mention plagiarism without mentioning referencing. So we're going to try to understand the university's requirement when it comes to referencing and plagiarism. This tutorial will help us to understand referencing in depth, as we'll be looking at how to reference journal articles, books, book chapters, web pages, etc. This tutorial will also cover how to cite and reference and how to do it right. And then lastly, we're going to have a look at plagiarism, what it is, and how to avoid it. So for more information after this tutorial, you can always go back to the Northwest University Referencing Guide, as it has a practical example on how to reference everything from your study guide to newspaper to ebooks to everything that's not even covered here. So you are advised to go and check it out. So first things first. Referencing. What do you understand by the term referencing? When you're writing an an essay, and your lecturer tells you to reference, what exactly is he or she talking about? So why do I need to reference? Maybe first question you ask yourself. Because reading, understanding, and correcting referencing the work of others in your assignment is very important. And by correctly referencing, you will be basically protect yourself against accusation of plagiarism, very important. And then you will also demonstrate that you have read widely and you show your understanding of a topic. And you'll also be supporting your argument with a published research. And again, another important thing is, if you don't reference correctly, you may be accused of committing plagiarism, which is seen as an academic misconduct and carries penalties. Penalties vary in this institution, from suspension to basically being expelled. So it's very important that you guys practice referencing in your daily academic life. Citing in your referencing. The first part of a Harvard reference is the in-text citation or in-text referencing, as you may have came across it when you were doing your assignment. The in-text referencing is basically writing the reference within your essay. Like in your paragraph, you include the author, the date, and the page number if applicable. And there are basically different types of style you can use, or flows you can use when you do in-text citation or in-text referencing. Like the first one, you can see it's AD, which is basically the author, 2006, which is the date, and then lastly they included the page number, like right at the bottom there. And the second one, we have AD, the author, 2006, which is the date, page number. They're included in the same line or same stance. And again, we have the last one, which were by you include the author, the date, and the page right at the bottom there. So there are basically different ways of in-text referencing your work. You can also use quotations to indicate a direct quote. Short quotes can be included in your own sentences. Like here we have example whereby continuing professional development allows people to build on their knowledge and skill to develop their level of competence. And you can see that they recognize whoever came or wrote their thing. Alsop in this case is the author, and then the date and the page number. And again, we have longer quotes should be indented in a separate paragraph. You see, they first say evidence suggests that the popularity for alternative medicine is growing according to demand. 2004, 378, the year and the page number, and then the quotation are there. And again, another tip would be to avoid overusing them quotations, as they seem unprofessional and unacademic as time goes by. At the end of your work, include the end list or the list of references or bibliography. So in Harvard referencing, they should be listed in alphabetical order by author. Do not separate into different types of work. So this is basically an example of how you can do your bibliography or reference list. So, and here again they distinguish the difference between a reference list and the bibliography. And how to reference a book, which is very important, like a textbook which you use every day, and how to reference it. You first of all, you start with the author, his surname, initials. Sometimes it may be two authors, like in this case here. So you will start with the author, and then you go on to the date of publication. When was that particular book you are using published? And again you go on to the title of the book. And again, remember guys, this is when you'll be writing your bibliography or your reference list, not in your in-text referencing. This is how you're going to write how you're going to reference it in your bibliography. And again, lastly, we have the publisher, which in this case is Palgrave, as in Tog. Yes. How to reference a journal article. A journal article also may have two authors, so you start with author's surname and initials, date of publication, and then article title. And again, you go to the journal title and then journal information such as volume, issue, etc. etc. And again, you may be required to reference a web page, and in this case you still have to include the author, which should be his or her surname, initials, and then again you go on to the date, the date which the site was updated. So in basically when that particular article was uploaded, that's the date that you will be using. And then we have the page title. Sometimes each and everything on the internet has a title, especially articles, and website title, and then again the access information. You as the reader, the date that you accessed that particular information. Citing and referencing, how to do it right. By citing and referencing, the university requires that your written work should acknowledge the work of others whenever you make use of it. Very important. Present these acknowledgements in a consistent way using a recognized citation system. In our case, it will be referencing. It will be Harvard referencing. Include a detailed reference list at the end. Very important again. Acknowledging the work of others. You must give reference whenever you quote their work from a source, paraphrase, use ideas or material from others. It's very important, guys, to always give reference where it is due, because if you don't do that, it simply shows selfishness again, because another person has worked hard to actually make sure that they achieve whatever they have published, and you come and you use it without acknowledging them. It's a serious offense, guys. And this includes all sorts of material from printed, like books, journal articles, images, graphs, table. The list goes on. Using a recognized citation system. This is where we're talking about Harvard referencing, where it has author and date. And again, formal referencing list. Now lastly, we cover plagiarism, what it is and how to avoid it. Definition of plagiarism is the copying or use of the work of others, whether intentionally or unintentionally, as if it were your own. Such work may come from any source, whether published or unpublished, in print or online, including words, images, audio recordings, diagrams, formulas, computer code, performance, idea, judgment, discoveries, and results. So basically, plagiarism is taking someone's work and using it as your own without recognizing that person or referencing that person in your work. And we have different types of plagiarism. First of all, we have outright copying. It is a well-known and the most common type is copying. You copy someone else's work and put your name on it. You don't even change anything. So that's outright copying. And again, we have patchwork Plagiarism. This occurs when the plagiarizer borrows the phrase and clause from the original source and weaves it into his own, without putting the phrase in the quotation mark or citing the author. This is when you're taking different types of work from different sources and you combine to make it your own. It's still plagiarism, and it's patchwork plagiarism. And again, we have paraphrasing plagiarism. Here, the plagiarizer paraphrases or summarizes another work without citing the source. So you basically get an idea from somewhere, and you use that idea to develop your own idea, and you put it in your own way. So it's paraphrasing. It's still plagiarizing. And we have stealing an apt term. This occurs when a student lifts or copies a phrase from the original text without referencing it. This is when you are just reading a phrase or a term from a certain material without recognizing the author. And again, we have different tips on how to avoid committing plagiarism. We always have to acknowledge always acknowledge anywhere you use other people's work or even your own past work. Always use a standard referencing style. Quotation should be clearly identified. Paraphrasing, using your own words to express idea, must also acknowledge the original author. Where you have worked collaboratively, meaning working as a team or working with other people, always note the involvement of and input of others. So basically, in summary, we can say identical text with code mark with citation, that's good. And then reworded text, no code marks with citation. But it would be bad for you to use identical text, no code marks, even if a citation is given. Tiny changes to text, no code marks, it is still plagiarism, and it is bad. Identical text, no code marks, no citation, still plagiarism. Reworded text, no code marks, no citation, still plagiarism. And then last tips to avoid plagiarism. For you to basically avoid plagiarism, you should leave enough time to find and read the information you need. Very important, guys. Use clear note-taking techniques and then reference all your source. Thank you for listening, and take care.